I'm Christina. I'm 32 years old, and I first came to building Arizona Families for an adoption. It's hard to go through the adoption, but I felt more content and I felt at peace when I came to the office and I seen the picture of Kelly's birth mom. Because when I went to rehab back in 2016, I seen that picture at Crossroads for Women, and I went for 120 days and I stayed there, and then I got out, and then so the time goes forward now that I was pregnant, but I was in a time of need, and the adoption agency helped me out tremendously. Going through with what I was going through, living here and there, bouncing back and forth, wasn't really stable, and knowing that I loved children so much that my other two ended up getting removed from me and with my family. It was hard at first, but the Building Arizona Families, they helped me out tremendously. My case manager, Gloria, she's amazing, and then Kelly, and most of the other females that are working at Building Arizona Families. Seeing you guys, it brings a smile to my face and a little bit more hope and stuff, because going through this process, it has put me up and down in my lows, and talking it over with Gloria and Kelly, and it kind of sets in and makes you a little bit more at ease and at home. So I was blessed to come into contact with Building Arizona Families, so that way I could give my baby a better life than what I could give him right now, because I'm not saying that I'm not capable of it, but I am, but I'm just more rather see him accomplish more things that I could get than I could not give him right now. So that's why I chose Building Arizona Families. I was raped with this pregnancy, and I'm not saying that I will not keep him, I would, but being on the streets, bouncing from this motel to that motel, not having a stable place to live out there on Mesa on the east side, it was hard. And not having the family support thing there for me, because at the time I was going through the CPS case with my youngest. I moved closer to be closer to my aunt because she lives in Apache Junction, so I can be closer to my youngest daughter. But I didn't want to jeopardize my child being placed with my aunt, so I stayed out on the street or met friends and try to make sure that I didn't get taken advantage of, which I did. I put food in. Oh yeah, you can stay here for however long. Yeah, no, within a day they kicked me out. But it was hard, and it was crappy too, because I thought that I had some pretty good friends there for me, but didn't, because in the end they still just gave me the foot out the door. But then I read more about Building Arizona Families, and that's what I felt more at peace and home. And walking through the door and having the secretary at the door, and she greets us when we walk in, it's really amazing. So going through with what I went through and coming here for that first visit with Amanda and signing my paperwork, that's when I told Amanda, and she worked me into it, because I was kind of nervous, and she knew it and she felt it, and I was like, I'm sorry, I just don't know what to do. And she's like, no, don't apologize, it's all good. But it helped me out a lot too, because it's not that it's forcing. You guys are just right there to help us and guide us into a good positive way to make us feel more at home and secure. Because the ones like me being out there on the streets, walking through the door at Building Arizona Families, it's hard because we always get judgmental looks from everybody else, but you guys don't. It's welcoming and more of a home feeling. I haven't felt home, I would say, since my two daughters got removed from me, but until seeing that picture of your mom, and then it just reminded me of that everything was good and the positive thing that you and all the other co-workers give us girls. that was hard. My aunt and me and my aunt went back and forth with me, and she pretty much said some hurtful things. And recently, last week, when she told me that my dad who got my first two removed from me, was going down to the courts to file to get the baby from me when I gave birth. But when she found out that I was going through the adoption agency, she's like, I know I said some of the meanest and cruelest things to you. She goes, but it's a noble thing that what you're doing. And she goes, it's very hard and I know it, but I'll still be here in the end. Thankfully, you're going through that adoption agency because now your dad and your stepmom won't be able to try to take the baby away. And that's the best thing about it, because he's already hurt me too much with my first two. This time when I found out, it just tore me to pieces. So thankfully that he can't do nothing, and my son will be going with his family, which is my adoptive parents that I picked, and I'm amazed and I'm glad and I'm thankful. So he'll be perfectly fine, and my dad and my stepmom can't do nothing about it, thank God. So pregnant, and she's trying to figure out what to do, and it depends, like, her situation. I would tell her, at first it was hard for me to do an adoption, but I would guide her and help her read into building Arizona families. I'm not gonna just say, oh, well, you should, but I'll help her and let her look through it. I would also talk to her too, because you never know if that mother who's pregnant, who's also scared, is either on drugs or not on drugs. And depending on how bad the situation is, personally, I know how it feels, and I would just let her know my experience and tell her I've been there. I can't express what you're going through, but I can understand what you are going through because I've been there once before. And if you need somebody to go with you, I'll go with you. Growing up, I had a rough life, very rough life. I was like, if you could put all like the scapegoat and all those words into one, that's me growing up. But in the end, no matter what or however hard it was, I found a positive solution out of every negative outcome. Just kept pushing and kept pushing forward and kept going. There was times when I just wanted to give up. There's still times that I still want to give up, but I don't know what it is. I just keep going. The inner strength, I just remember seeing my daughter's faces. I remember positive people that have been by my side, and they're there to tell me, no, you keep going, you keep pushing, don't give up. Like Gloria, she's right there on top of it, and Sarah and you and stuff. So you guys are more like I don't know, it's like one big family, you know what I mean?